Jey Uso is responding to some of the backlash, so we'll see what that's about. We'll also see what's going on with Cody Rhodes, Sonya Deville, and more. Starting things off with Jey Uso and the conversation that's surrounding him that he's apparently responding to now. But over the last few weeks, a growing group of fans have started to heavily critique Jey's recent work and his new character portrayal. This group of fans appear to be turning on Jey Uso because they're not a fan of the new character portrayal, and how he went from being a serious, multi-dimensional character with so much thoughts, emotion, range, and storytelling attributes, to now being a character that leans on catchphrases. And everyone knows that there's also an issue with the fans as well, because some fans are very fickle. They root for a superstar and stay with them the whole climb to the top of the mountain. But once that superstar becomes established at the top of the mountain, the fans will start turning on them in a heartbeat and picking out all their things that they suddenly hate about the character. So that's what some people think is happening right now with Jey Uso and this specific group of fans. Jey made it to the top. He's a certified main event caliber star, and now fans are turning on him for that reason. But you can't dismiss all those fans as haters or fickle fans. Some of them do have valid points. They've just seen the range over the last few years that Jey Uso has had as an actor, and all these great storytelling abilities he has, and they want to see that back on full display. So can't argue that at all. If they just want better opportunities for Jey to put his range on display, then there's nothing wrong with that at all. WWE has even hinted that an original Bloodline reunion between the Usos and Roman Reigns will be coming up down the line. So maybe once the original Bloodline is back together and they're going up against their fellow Rogue family members, maybe that's when Jey will have an opportunity again to get a bit deeper with his character portrayal. But Jey Uso is continuing to crush it in the ring and prove the overall haters wrong. Jey even addressed this little wave of fans turning on him with a response through his Instagram. In a post to his page, Jey Uso said, quote, "With me or nah, I stick to my journey, let's go," end quote. So that appears to be Jey's official response to the negative fans. He's keeping his eyes set on his mission, regardless of if the fans are on board with him or not. A big return happened this week for the women's division, and that was the return of Sonya Deville. The dreaded torn ACL freak injury is something that a lot of superstars have been falling victim to lately, and Sonya was unfortunately one of them when she went down with that injury in July 2023. But nearly a full year later, Sonya Deville has been cleared and is back on WWE television. Sonya made her long-awaited return via a Backstage Raw segment where she approached the team of Zoey Stark and Shayna Baszler. Sonya was all dressed up and walked to them to talk about an idea and opportunity she had for them. Zoey Stark seemed interested, but it looks like Shayna Baszler, being a bit more familiar with Sonya Deville and her past, wanted nothing to do with hearing what Sonya had to say. So Shayna makes Zoey and herself walk away before Sonya could say anything else of much detail. Sonya had done it all in the WWE terms of being an in-ring competitor and being a WWE official, sort of corporate character. And we didn't get to see or hear much of Sonya in this brief return segment, but telling by her approach, the way that she's dressed, and reading between the lines, it definitely seems like Sonya was speaking and coming from a potential manager point of view. Maybe she really liked what Zoey and Shayna were doing as a tag team, and maybe she had an offer to either manage them or turn themselves into a trio. Before Sonya went down with her torn ACL injury, she was barely 11 days into her first reign ever as a tag team champion. So maybe there's some desire there for Sonya's character to dabble back into the tag team division scene in an attempt to get those tag team titles back and get her revenge. Sonya Deville's former partner, Chelsea Green, has a new partner with Piper Niven. So since Chelsea's no longer available, maybe that's why Sonya is turning to Zoey and Shayna. But it appears that the story for the time being will be that Zoey's actually opening to listening to what Sonya has to say, but Shayna wants nothing to do with what Sonya has to offer. So the next few weeks of Raw should most likely see Sonya Deville continuing to chase after Zoey and Shayna and getting them to hear her out on her big offer and pitch. It appears that WWE has started teasing the biggest upcoming title defense of Cody Rhodes' title reign so far. Cody has now defended his title against AJ Styles and Logan Paul, which might have been a great individual matches, but both feuds were lacking that real in-depth storytelling. Well, on the May 24th edition of SmackDown, Cody Rhodes bumped into Randy Orton backstage. Cody wished Orton luck in the King of the Ring tournament, and Randy shook his hand and thanked him. Randy's eyes were absolutely locked in on Cody's WWE title the whole time, and he never took his eyes off of it until they both walked away from each other. So the meaning of that quick little interaction is absolutely massive. It's obviously meant to tease the idea of seeing Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton for the WWE title in the near future. Considering how big of a matchup Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton would be, fans are really thinking that WWE may pull the trigger on the Cody and Randy match for Summerslam. Cody versus Randy would be the perfect SummerSlam main event matchup, and different from AJ Styles and Logan Paul, this is a feud for Cody that should be absolutely loaded with backstory, in-depth history, and big stakes outside of just the WWE title. Randy Orton was one of Cody's first and biggest mentors in the WWE. Randy accepted Cody into his legacy faction, taught him everything he knew, traveled the world with him, and so on. So for them to meet again in the middle of the ring all these years later with all their deep history with each other, with the WWE title being on the line, that really does make the match feel even more special. By the point the match with Randy happens, Cody would have defeated Roman Reigns, AJ Styles, Logan Paul, and maybe a few select others. But the match against Randy would probably be viewed by Cody as one of the most important and meaningful matches of his title reign so far. What better way for Cody to prove to others and himself that he deserves this spot right now than by defeating his old mentor and teacher, Randy Orton? It would be a massive win that would really further prove himself even more in Cody's eyes. And for Randy Orton, he knows he's getting up there in career years. He knows the clock is ticking, and that's why he's so desperate to try and win another WWE title. So it'll be easily Cody's biggest threat to date. He'll be facing a fresh Randy Orton, a version of Randy that's a veteran and should obviously know all of Cody's moves, since he helped develop him into the star he is today. So it would be a tough matchup and story with so much rich backstory to it. The only question left to ask is, how will Randy Orton's character be portrayed in this matchup? Will WWE keep things neutral and respectful with a babyface versus babyface matchup for Cody versus Randy at SummerSlam? Or will Randy slap back into his old ways and turn heel on Cody in order to catch Cody slipping and increase his own odds of taking the WWE title? Everyone knows that Randy Orton is one of the all-time greats, but everyone also knows his character that can't really be trusted, especially by those who think they're close to him. So the idea of Orton turning on Cody ahead of their feud isn't out of the realm of possibility at all. But either way, it looks like Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton is coming up real soon. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.